Hello, my name is Chris Irwin. I am a technical solutions professional on the Live at EDU team at Microsoft, and today we're going to be discussing the CSV parser PowerShell script. The CSV parser PowerShell script is a sample script provided by Microsoft that will allow you to take a CSV file full of user accounts and create different object types in your Live at EDU tenant. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the actual CSV parser script. It is a .ps1 file, which is the PowerShell extension for a script file, just like a VB script file may be .vb or .wsh or something along those lines. This is the out-of-the-box PowerShell editor, PowerShell.ise.exe. It's installed with PowerShell 2.0. It gives you a Visual Basic-like feel. Color codes different parameters. You can see the red here that are prefixed by $signs. Those are variables. If it's got a pound in front of it, that denotes comments along those lines. And we're not going to dig through the entire script. It is available for download, and you're more than welcome to modify it as needed. So the nice thing about this particular script is they give you a usage sample. The author was nice enough to go down and list some of the parameters that are in it, or some of the variables that are going to be used, $cred, $username, etc., as well as some of the parameters you can pass in. We've got a dash remote URL, dash log directory, verbo, start row, end row, and then an overall usage example. One of the things I want to point out here is the remote URL, which we reference right up here. You could specify something additional, but you shouldn't need that for Live at EDU. We've got it hard coded to https://ps.outlook.com/PowerShell. It is an SSL connection. Everything that you do within Live at EDU, all the communication will be encrypted. So let's go ahead and start looking into this. So we've got here are the parameters that we're going to be calling in this particular demo. We've got a dash user file, which points to the actual CSV file that we're going to be calling, and we'll take a look at that in a second. We've got a dash live credentials, and then we've got a variable listed here as opposed to hard coding the credentials. What that's going to do is force the script to require user interaction. PowerShell, when we run this, will actually pop up and request my Live at EDU tenant credentials as opposed to you hard coding it in a script somewhere. And then we've got a log directory that I've created, c:\logs. So if we take a look at the CSV file we're actually going to read in, the first row is just header information. So we've got action, comma type, comma name, email address, etc. And then the following rows are going to be the actual data. As you can see, we're doing add operations for all three of these users. The first one's going to be a mailbox user, or a mailbox. The second one will be a mail user, and the third one will be a contact. And then we've got different names and different email addresses associated with each one of them. They're going into my particular domain, which is chrisirwin.info. So we're going to minimize this, and we're going to fire up PowerShell here. Before we get that, I've also got an empty logs directory here, so we've got somewhere to log data or errors if we need to, and information. So we fire up PowerShell here. For those of you that are unfamiliar with PowerShell, you'll notice it looks a lot like the standard command prompt, except it's a nice blue. You can see the difference there. You'll notice there'll be some similarities as far as shortcut keys from the command prompt that carry over into PowerShell. A great example of that is being able to use the tab key and have it finish the path for something you're looking for. So instead of having to type in this mammoth path here to get to the script file that I want to get to, I can make this real easy on myself. I'm changing directory to users /tab/ and then I hit the tab key again, and it automatically resolves it. Makes my life much easier as far as that goes. It works for files as well. Boom, there's my CS file. If there are multiple files that start with that, you just keep hitting tab, it'll cycle through them. So now we're going to take the parameters that I've already typed out, and you don't have to watch me fat finger those. So it hits the, as it's parsing over the parameters you've given it, it hits the live EDU creds and sees the variable, and it's going to go ahead and prompt me for my live EDU tenant credentials. We provide those, and off it goes. Now it's going to be parsing script, and we're going to see output here on the screen. You can see phase 1, it's starting the import. We're performing an add, modify, or delete operation. We're doing an import for this particular mailbox. It gives me the row number. It tells me exactly what we're doing. We're running an add for this user, and then it gives me the amount of time, and then we've got a status of finished. Now it's starting on the second one, and it's going to be performing the add for that user. Now while that's running, I pop up a logs here. And when it can actually see, let's pin this to the side here. And that's not going to work. We can actually see some of the steps that are happening. We've got initialization, starting import, gives us some particular information for this. So the pre-validation information gives us the name of the CSV file it's hitting, the remote PowerShell, the rows, etc. Then we've actually got a status for each one of the users that it's processing. So my particular instance, we've only got 3 user accounts in here. You could have 3 or 30,000. So we're going to give this just a minute more here. So we notice that the first one was a mailbox user. This is a mail user. It takes a little longer to create those, and it's running through that process right now. Let's see if it's created anything. So we'll go to Outlook.com. Sign in. So you can see I'm the administrator, and so right now we don't want to manage myself, we want to manage the organization. As we can see, we've got the one mailbox created here. This is our testing 1_ mailbox. So we'll have some additional information once the PowerShell script finishes running. Let's hop over and see if that finished. Yes, it did. Okay, so we can look down through here and we can see that it finished up and it closed the connection here. That terminated the connection with our tenant live EDU domain. We can see our log file here. We can open it up and look through and find any pertinent information on all the users, the information it read in, attributes that it's synchronizing, anything we'd ever want to know about a contact or an object here. It gives us the total time it ran, number of objects, and some other information. Now if we look back over here, you remember we created 3 types. We created a mailbox, which we see here. We created a contact, which we can see under external contacts here. And we created a mail user. Now the mail user is essentially an on-premise user. It'd be an example of like a professor, faculty, staff, something along those lines that have a on-premise Exchange mailbox, but we want them to show up here. So if we click the address book here, you'll notice, hey, I've got 4 people. I've got my account, I've got the mailbox we created, I've got the contact we created, and I've got the mail user we created. So our synchronization via the PowerShell script completed successfully. We were able to pull objects out of a CSV file and programmatically insert them into our Live at EDU tenant. This is it. This concludes our demo, and if you have any questions, please let us know.